Welcome to Business Unleashed, a Plano Chamber podcast, where we dive into conversations that help entrepreneurs, professionals, and curious minds thrive in life and business. Today, we're stepping into the world of med spas, a rapidly growing industry that blends beauty, wellness, and medical expertise. Whether you're exploring treatments for the first time or you're a regular client, this episode is designed to make you more confident and informed decision. Joining us is Carmen Vitton, owner of Vio Med Spa Plano. Carmen is passionate about raising the standard in medical aesthetics and is here to walk us through what to expect in a med spa setting. From credentials to look for, questions to ask, and red flags to avoid. Let's get into it. So welcome back to the Business Unleashed podcast. I'm so excited to be joined by Carmen Vitton. She's our very special guest today. We're going to be talking about all the things med spa. So if you've been to a med spa and you wanted to know some things behind the scene, if you've never been, we're so excited to introduce you to this concept. And we're so excited to have you, Carmen. Can you give us a little bit of your background and tell
Sure.
us why you started Vio Med Spa Plano?
Yes, absolutely. I'm a speech pathologist by training, and I've been in the healthcare industry for over 35 years. And I mostly was in rehabilitation, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy. And it's very rewarding to give somebody something back that they took for granted that you've had all your life. And as reimbursements have become much more difficult in traditional healthcare, as a consumer of med spa services myself, I found out more about the industry and more about the franchise opportunity. And I really liked what I heard. And so I transitioned, and I thought it was appropriate and kind of ironic that as a speech pathologist, I know all the structures and function and musculature of the facial and oral structures. And so I thought, okay, well, the anatomy and physiology can carry over somewhat, but then also operating a business and also being in healthcare. So I really liked the aesthetic industry. And so I started Vio Med Spa Plano. We opened about 6 or 7 months ago, and it's been a very exciting journey ever since.
That's really exciting. I've never been to a med spa, but I've always wondered, what's the difference between, like a med spa and a regular spa. But for someone who's never visited one, what can you kind of expect during your first visit?
Sure. Well, a med spa is going to be different than a day spa. Like a
Okay.
day spa is where you might go and have massage or your nails done, sort of feel good services, kind of surface level. Whereas a med spa, it's going to be focused more on results, outcome driven treatments and concern or focus on a correction or a condition of a deeper seated issue. And that'll be through non surgical aesthetic techniques such as injectables, skin rejuvenation, facials, medical grade skincare products, or injectables, any of the injectables. And we also have a fabulous wellness program.
That's really good. I mean, because so many people, a lot of times, we need services to our bodies that we don't even think about, that you can't even fathom. And so many people live in pain and just live in discomfort in so many areas. And we really, don't even, have to do that. So what are some of the services that clients kind of request at Biomed Spa or come to you for?
Sure. And that's goes back to my rehab days, Kia, with giving people back something that you just took for granted your whole life. For example, with our wellness program, with our hormone replacement therapies. Those are things that you just take this for granted your whole life. And then as you approach premenopausal age or menopausal age, things change with your body and no one talks about it. And my mama didn't tell me about these things. My girlfriends don't talk about it. And there are changes that occur all the time. You start to age and things, you lose the volume in your face and things, you start to see fine lines and wrinkles over time. Well, gosh, where did those come from? I didn't used to have
Mhm.
those. So being able to and rejuvenate those areas that we've taken for granted all our lives is just so powerful and rewarding. And I think that's really something that you can get from a med spa. So with our wellness program, in addition to the hormone replacement therapies, we also do the weight loss services. A lot of folks are doing the GLP-1s now in the country. We provide a lot of coaching and education and training that with these weight loss medications, you also need to lift weights and continue to work out because just as quickly as you're losing the body fat, you're also losing your muscle mass. So we do that. We do hair loss restoration. So for a lot of ladies, as you approach a certain age, even with men, we see it happening all the time. You lose your hair. And, it all comes down to a healthy scalp. And a lot of times people don't know that. And so we provide those services as well. And we have therapies. And so we have different kinds of IVs to help with hydration, your immune system, recovery, say for example for marathon runners, or if you're playing in a tennis tournament or a golf tournament, those things are all very draining and taxing on your body. And so IV therapies can be very restorative in that
Mhm.
perspective. And then also we do all the obvious things, the injectables, we have the Botox, but of course there's different types of neuromodulators other than just Botox. There's other brands on the market, such as Jeuveau and Dysport. And then we do fillers. And there's also something new, LaChaya, in the industry. It's a unique kind of filler that doesn't make a difference in your appearance or a change in your appearance immediately. It's called Sculptra, and it's like a little garden, if you will, and it sort of grows and enhances over time, expands over time. I just had it done in the hollows by my eyes, by in this area here, and it's
Mhm.
nice to see a little more volume restoration in those areas. And we also do facials. We have 3 different types of facials. Hydrofacials are extremely popular, very exfoliating, very hydrating. And then there's other kinds of facials as well as the skin rejuvenation services. And those are my favorite. Microneedling is extremely popular. There's traditional microneedling, and then there's
Mhm.
radio frequency microneedling that has a thermal component, so it heats as well. And that it induces very small controlled injuries to the skin, and when it heals, it tightens, and it's pretty miraculous.
Wow,
It's
that's really cool.
amazing. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that can be done to combat aging and still enable you to look as natural as possible, like yourself. We all wanna be ourselves, but just a better
Mhm.
version, maybe a younger version, or what I used to look like
Exactly.
version of
Exactly.
myself.
Because when you look in the mirror, as you get older, and I mean, like I said, as I get older, you wanna feel like, you wanna feel younger, but then you also wanna feel like yourself. Like, I wanna look in the mirror and
Yes.
recognize myself. I don't wanna look like anybody else.
That's right. Exactly, exactly, and that can
Mhm.
also when you observe those kinds of appearances, those are things that may be a red flag.
So let's kind of talk about so what are like some like certifications or things that people when people are like searching for a med spa to visit, what are some things like they should look for when choosing like a provider, especially since like this is more specialized care, like you said, it's different from going to a day spa where you just kind of, getting more surface level things done. But what should people look at when choosing like a med spa?
Sure, there absolutely needs to be a medical director involved. In the state of Texas, the PLLC, the Professional Limited Liability Corporation, that operates spa can only be owned by a physician, which is outstanding in my opinion, because a corporate person or a business owner cannot dictate to the physician what services to render or the volume of services to render. So I think that helps to protect the consumer. So you need to ensure that a medical director is involved. There should be a physician involved. The individual rendering services must be a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. They are there to diagnose with the physician and develop a plan of care that a nurse or a medical esthetician can follow. So you should see those credentials. You should not be receiving injectables from an esthetician. Those should be provided to you by at least an RN or a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant. So you need to really look at the credentials on the individual's name tag. Look for the initials after their names. If you're not seeing name tags or you're not seeing credentials, you're not seeing license readily available and posted, then I think you should proceed with caution. If you don't see those things, there should also be posted for any complaints. There should be language that speaks to contacting the Texas Medical Board if there are concerns or complaints or that sort of thing. So those are the credentials you should be looking for, LaKia.
Yeah, that's really good because it's the same way. Like if you were going to a doctor's office or, for a surgical procedure, you wouldn't just allow anybody to just
Thank you.
perform surgery on you. So why would you allow, people to do these type of procedures on you? It's very serious.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am. It's very much
Mhm,
a medical procedure. You are breaking the skin when you're doing injectables, and you
mhm.
need to have someone who is very knowledgeable, who has been trained, who is skilled in that. There are areas of the face that are very vascular, such as the nose area, for example. So there are possibilities of complications. So you need to be aware of that, and you need to be cautious when you're going to a med spa. You need to be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some common misconceptions people have about like med spa services? Like if have you ever encountered somebody that, may have been like, oh, no, that's not for me, or, some things that they may have not know that may not be absolutely true, but just have misconceptions in their mind about it before they even come to you.
Absolutely. It's rampant, the misconceptions. One of my favorites, though, is that it's just for women. Men care very much about the appearance, their weight, their muscle mass, their hair, their libido. I mean,
Mhm.
they experience changes. They're different than what we women go through, but they experience changes as well. And so I think that's a common misconception that, only men can't go to the med spa. And I think another thing is that people think that med spas are overpriced. Well, I must tell you that using manufactured, produced, calibrated equipment with consumables that are only purchased from the manufacturer and not, off some knockoff website somewhere,
Mhm.
only purchasing medications through an FDA approved pharmacy. Those things, they're not cheap and it is expensive, but you're not going to find if med spas are advertising something that's below market value, I would be wary of that as well. We had a young lady come to me the other day and said, well, where I go now, they offer me unlimited injectables. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a little, first of all, it's irresponsible. It's concerning, but unlimited? Hmm.
Mhm.
It's questionable when I hear these things or people call and ask about pricing. And well, I can get it down the street I can do my whole face for $30. And I'm like, well, then if price is your main concern and that's all you care about, you're not
Mhm.
concerned with the level of experience or expertise of your provider, you're not concerned about safety or quality or outcomes, then that's probably where you should go.
Mhm.
Those are some of my misconceptions that I encounter all the time. Um, and I think there are a lot of misconceptions. There are some unsavory characters or some, unlicensed individuals out there providing services. We see it on the news, unfortunately, and that
Mhm.
gives med spas in general kind of a bad rap, if you will. I think consumers just need to be knowledgeable. They need to educate themselves and do your research before visiting your med spa.
Exactly, because certain things, I mean, we all like to save, on certain things,
Oh,
but
sure.
when it
Yes.
comes to our bodies and medical, expenses and things like that, that's not the time to cheapen out. Not at
Yeah.
all.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about your staff and your team. How do you ensure like that your staff stays up to date, like on training and technologies and just like different trends that may come about and different things like that?
Sure, sure. That's one of the things that really attracted me to Vio Med Spa, and Vio, VIO, it stands for value in ourselves. And one of the things that I really respect about them and admire is their adherence to compliance. And so all of our providers, medical providers, they must, according to their state licensure guidelines, maintain continuing education. But not only from a licensure perspective, as a provider perspective, we want to ensure that all of our staff is up to date with the latest and greatest techniques, the latest equipment, medications. There's things coming out all the time. And so, in order to stay current, we participate a lot with our vendor trainings. They provide webinars every month. We have vendors come in on site, coming in at least monthly. It seems like daily, but they're visiting all the time. And then, for example, we are blessed here in Dallas with Aesthetic Next, and it's a huge nationwide, worldwide conference that actually people from all over come to and attend so you can get continuing education opportunities there. There's huge opportunities provided by Galderma and Elastin. And so we adhere to those types of things. But also at VIO, we have a corporate medical director, Dr. Alan Durkin, who is just amazing. And he provides training, on site training. He is a board certified plastic surgeon. He's got over 40 practitioners in his plastic surgery office in Ocean Drive in Florida. And he recently, last month, brought together several of our practitioners and our providers and did a hands-on 2-day training with them regarding injectables. And he does webinars for us quarterly. The man is just incredible. And he works with all of our medical directors to ensure that they're providing us the adequate support and guidance that we need in the field. I can't say enough about the education at VO. I very much respect that. And as a clinician myself, as a speech pathologist, I understand how important education is, education and training. And it keeps our clinicians engaged as well. It
Mhm.
keeps them, that keeps them happy that they're getting the latest and greatest information.
Exactly. Yeah, and they can feel like confident when they're, talking to patients and different things like that. They can feel confident that they're, doing the right thing.
Yes, ma'am. And that actually is all I ask them to do to explain to their customers. So if you
Mhm.
explain the procedure, you can explain the information, the science behind it, the rationale, and what kind of outcomes the individual can expect. Just all they need to do is educate the consumer, educate the client. That's what they need to do. And that, therefore, thereby educating, you're sort of selling at the same time. So I
Mhm.
would rather educate, focus on the education piece, and the sales and the numbers come as a natural byproduct of the education. So if the
Yes.
clinicians are educated, they can easily educate the consumer.
Mhm. And speaking of, like, educating the consumer, like, how do you approach, like, educating, like, the clients so that they feel, like, informed and they feel confident about, like, the services that they're choosing to have done?
It's critically important that the individual come in for a consultation prior to their first service or intervention. The clinician needs to examine the individual. They need to see your skin. They need to assess you, and it they create a Fitzpatrick score based on your skin, your thickness, your ethnicity, that sort of thing. They can select and choose the most appropriate treatments for your skin. At the same time, you're being examined or in the consultation with the nurse practitioner or the physician's assistant. We like our medical estheticians to be present as well, because then you have the expertise of a medical professional as well as a medical esthetician who's focusing just on the skin. And so that
Mhm.
way they can go over your medical history, your concerns, your areas that you're concerned about, things you'd like to focus on in treatments, what your goals are. And all of those things together, the three of you then can arrive at a conclusion about what your treatment plan could and should look like, and give you those guidelines. And then, you and your provider can decide, gosh, where do I want to start? What's most important, based on your priority. Maybe you have a event coming up. Maybe your daughter's getting married, or you have a class reunion or something you want to prepare for. And so those are things you should be discussing with your provider so that you can determine what it is you'd like to proceed with.
Mhm. Yeah, true, because sometimes you think you need one thing, but you may need something totally different, because you see yourself, you know how you see yourself, but when into this situation, you're like, "Oh, but maybe I did need something different," and I'm thinking, I needed Botox, but I actually need, something different.
Yes. So often. Yeah, I mean, I felt this way in my 40s. You don't have the energy that you used to, and it may not even occur to the individual that, gosh, it could be hormonal. And
Mhm.
so we'll do a lab draw and examine the panel and make a determination whether or not you could benefit from an adjustment to your hormones. I mean,
Mhm.
so there's a lot of things that affect us, not only the way we look, but also the way we feel. And so all those things are tied together. And you're exactly
Mhm.
right, Lakia. People may not make the association. And so a med spa can really help you with those identification of those areas that, could be barriers to you looking and feeling your best.
Absolutely. Again, because our audience is a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, C-suite executives, and different things like that. And you just opened my eyes just in this short time that we've been talking about it, who deal with like stress and different
Yes.
like high pressure environments. And, could like things, so many things go noticed or untreated because sometimes you just don't know, okay, where should I be going for this type of help?
Oh,
And
right.
you just opened my eyes to like that's a whole different thing that you could have been dealing with, but you haven't because you didn't know who to go to for something like that.
That was me 100%, Lakia. It took me 10 years to figure out the whole hormone component, and once I got that nailed, it changed my life, seriously.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
made such a huge difference. I mean, I had such weight gain, I wasn't sleeping, and I had no idea it was hormonal
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
nature, and so, yes, I finally got that figured out, but don't wait 10 years like I did, please. You don't have
Exactly.
to suffer like that.
Right. If you're listening and this is you,
Yeah.
call VO and set up an appointment and, get in there and don't wait to the last minute.
Yes, ma'am. I agree 100%.
Absolutely.
It's so huge, and it's amazing that people don't talk more about it. We
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to.
and a lot of times people like I said, what we're learning, especially like in these situations when you talk to somebody, honestly, you just don't know what you don't know. And if you're
Exactly.
not exposed, which is why I love doing these podcasts, because you get exposed to so much information that you had no clue of things that existed that you could have been using that you just didn't know they existed.
I so agree, and that's why I love to invite people to come in for a tour, LaKia, because
Mhm,
oftentimes, okay, usually people know, okay, we do facials, but they do not
mhm.
know anything about our wellness program usually. They don't know about the rejuvenation services usually, and so it really is you can really learn a lot just by coming into the spa, taking a
Mhm.
tour because we talk about our equipment and all the services that we provide. I didn't even tell you about our body contouring. I forgot to
Oh,
tell you about that,
yes,
LaKia.
yes, tell me about that.
Well, we have a machine that's absolutely amazing. It's called Emsculpt, and it too changed my life. And
Wow.
it uses heat. There's a thermal component and a magnet. It's called high intensity focused electromagnetic energy. And so basically, what this magnet does is elicits a very deep muscle contraction. As a matter of fact, it can elicit 20,000 muscle contractions in a 30-minute session. So
Wow.
that would be like doing 20,000 sit ups in 30 minutes. And so you can treat 10 major muscle groups: your biceps, your triceps, your abs, your quads, your hams, your glutes, your calves. And there's even an applicator for like your side, your love handles, if you will, your lats. And so, but this machine is amazing and it helps increase muscle mass by 25% and reduces body fat by 30%. Well, the muscle mass is huge and it is being touted now as the predictor of longevity as we
Mhm.
age. So nothing is more important, guys, than the muscle. This machine, not only can this help you from an aesthetic perspective. So, you going on vacation, you want to get in a bathing suit, oh gosh, I've been working out, but I haven't really made an impact. Come on
Mhm.
in and use the M Sculpt and it's incredible. But also people who are going into a surgery, perhaps a joint replacement, you're going to have a knee replacement, hip replacement. Well, your therapy is going to be much more successful if you have increased muscle mass before your surgery, and then your rehab afterward is going to be that much easier for you. I've seen people with post motor vehicle accident. There was a gentleman who had a surfing accident. You have atrophy as you heal from these injuries. And so it's difficult sometimes to innervate those muscles. Maybe it's painful, but the M Sculpt can really do that work for you. And because it's bypassing your brain, like your body doesn't know you just did 20,000 sit ups, for example.
Right.
You or
Yes.
I, we would be feeling it if we went to the gym and did something like that. And so
Mhm. Oh,
the M Sculpt can
absolutely, and how
just take
long if I went to the gym would it take me to do 20,000 sit-ups?
it's a great adjunct, Lakia, to any exercise or fitness program. It shouldn't take the place of your exercise, obviously. You
Mhm.
still need the cardio and the pulmonary benefits. You need to sweat. It's good for
Mhm.
you. So you
Yes.
still need traditional exercise, but the M Sculpt can really take you further. And I'm so sorry I got on my tangent, but we're
Oh,
actually having an
no.
M Sculpt event tomorrow on Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30. So if you'd like to check out this equipment, please come by. We're doing free demos. I'd love for you to experience it. People ask me all the time, is it like a TENS unit? Is it like eStim? It is eStim on steroids 100 million
Wow.
times and it's incredible. But the treatment itself is actually it doesn't hurt. It just feels like a little vibration, like you can feel it when the muscles are contracting. So anyway, that's
Wow.
that's that's Emsculpt.
So, Carmen, what's your perspective? Like, we know that, this industry is growing and evolving. Is there anything like new or exciting that you could share or anything that you feel is coming on the horizon that you want to mention?
There's always so much coming out, Lakia, and it's always learning. And that's something I love about the industry is like never stop learning. But I think with the advent of artificial intelligence, that will enable us to gain a farther reach and educate and inform more people, more folks. Only 5% of the US population uses injectables. So that to me was a very eye-opening statistic because not everybody is doing it. And so there's a lot of opportunity for growth in terms of more market share, more consumers using our services. And I think one of the things that's super exciting to me is that with the younger population embraces these services, it's so amazing to me. People of my generation, you go to the party, you stand in the corner with your girlfriend, where'd you get your Botox?
Mhm.
And you're whispering about these services. Well,
Exactly. It's
young
a secret.
people, Yeah, you've got 30-year-olds who are having the party because they got something done. And so it's celebrated by youthful populations. And also, young men are embracing it. I love that we have teenage guys coming to us. They care about their acne, they care about their
Mhm.
skin. They don't want to be all wrinkly and old when, as they age. And so I love that. And then also, I think there's opportunity because with people of my generation, the baby boomers in this country have just quadrupled. And so
Mhm.
we have more people now, more seniors in this country, in the United States, than we ever have in US history. And
Yes.
so, for those reasons, I think the opportunity is just endless. I think there's a lot of services to render. And there's a lot of people who, again, that we have opportunity to educate and inform because I think people just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
If somebody is curious and they're unsure, like, okay, Carmen, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure a med spa is right for them. What advice would you give them?
Sure, check out their website, LaChaya. You should be looking at the reviews. So Google reviews will tell you right away how satisfied other consumers are with services rendered there. So check that out. Look at the providers. The website should showcase the team. There should be a bio and photos, information about the providers and the rest of the team on the website. If you don't see that, that may be an indication of high turnover. And so that might be a spa that you may not want to visit. But those are things that you can check out first and look at the services being rendered, offered. But I would do that first, then ask for a tour, go in and ask for a tour and people should welcome you with open arms. The front of house staff should be very knowledgeable and receptive and friendly and be engaged with you. They should be proud to work there. If they are not readily able to provide you with information, they may not have adequate training or adequate information to be able to share. So that might be something, that you might question. But yes,
Awesome.
I think come in for a tour or a consultation. I think that's a beautiful way to start.
Awesome. And so, like, if somebody is like, okay, I'm listening, I am ready to book a treatment or a consultation, what's the best way for them to get started?
Sure. We love when our phones ring. So please make our phones ring. Can I give you my number? Is it okay?
Yes, give us your
Uh,
number, your website, all the
oh, awesome.
things.
Thank you, LaKia. It's 945-284-0815. Again, that's 945-284-0815. You can also check out our website. It's Vio Med Spa Plano. We're in Plano. And we are on the northeast corner of Park and Preston, 2412 Preston Road. And we are right next door to Orvis, and we're in the same shopping center as the Trader Joe's.
Awesome. I know right where that is. And we'll
Oh,
also put the phone number and the website in our show notes, so that you can access that as well. Well,
thank
Carmen,
you.
I've really thoroughly enjoyed talking to you and speaking with you, and
Thank
I've learned
you.
so much. I know you all have learned a lot, but I've learned a lot as well. And I'm so excited that you were able to join us today. And
Awesome.
yes, and we look forward to, sharing more about Vio Med Spa. And we hope that you will go and visit them and take care of all the things.
Awesome. Thanks, Lakia. Have a great day. We look forward to seeing you guys.
Welcome.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Business Unleashed. A huge thank you to Carmen and Vio Med Spa for giving us such valuable information into the Med Spa experience. If you're interested in visiting Vio Med Spa Plano, head over to their website at viomedspa.com/Plano. You can also follow them on social media. As always, thank you for tuning in and be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. And follow us on social media for more conversations that help you thrive in life and business. Until next time, keep building, growing, and keep unleashing what makes you great.